Welcome everyone to Office Hours for TradesPost on this beautiful November 5th, 2024.
Election day. We're
Election
doing office
day.
hours on election day. I hope everyone's like watching us from the phone while you're standing in line, getting ready to vote. That would be great. That would be great to know. If you're doing that, please chime in. Yes, I'm in the voting line.
I hear everywhere that this is the most important election ever, which I've heard ever since I was a fetus. But I was at a comedy show this weekend, and someone from the crowd mentioned, I'm in Canada, and someone mentioned Trump and Kamala, and the whole room was divided. I said, holy shucks, it really is. The empire has really stretched out that now we all care who the president is. And you know why that is? It's because we can bet on Kalshi and Polymarket. That's why.
That just rallies the whole world around Americans now.
Exactly. In the same way that I cared about the Chicago Bulls, I care about who wins in the election. So that's
okay.
Cool.
It's all making sense now.
So I'm gonna have to ask this live on the air. What's the volume necessary on these betting platforms, on the popularity necessary until TradesPost integrates these betting markets?
Well, at this point, what is it, like just a little over $200 million was traded on just one event contract on Kalshi. I would say when we get to a point where we see $200 million a day traded on one contract, then it could be more interesting. But
remember, it's $2 billion on Polymarket.
Yeah, that's collectively though. I want to see a couple $1 billion a day in volume. You know what I mean?
Okay. All right. So when Baron Trump runs against Chelsea Clinton, that's when we're going to get those.
Jesus. I think on Robinhood, it's if I'm reading this right, it's like 150 million is the volume.
Well, that's actually quite a bit over a short period of time because they just went live only a couple of weeks ago, right?
That's right.
I think so.
Yeah, that's impressive.
So I'm starting my campaign right now for people in the chat, in support emails, and on Discord to request Kalshi Polymarket, Kalshi Polymarket.
Well, we'll make a wait list for it. I'll tell you what, and if we get enough people on the list, we'll consider it.
Excellent.
Are there data providers for it yet? For
it's like directly on the exchange. You just go right to Kalshi's API. I guess it would be the same thing for Robinhood.
Yeah, but they have
I wonder about
the high-low open close data.
As far as I can tell, it has the pricing data for getting a market quote. I think it would meet most of our criteria for what we're looking for.
Nice.
Yeah.
Excellent. Well, the event contracts that Robinhood is trading, they're also doing it. They're using interactive brokers. So are we able to connect to event contracts and interactive brokers? I mean, we can't even get futures because of their API.
I don't think so.
Yeah, probably not.
I didn't know that. So Robinhood is built on top of interactive brokers for the event contracts?
Yeah, correct. From what we read.
Huh.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
They just wanted to get something out the door before the election. So
I could understand getting something out of the door before January 20th. It makes sense to me.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sanders says, I would bet via APIs. Yeah, absolutely.
We should revise that to say I would bet via TradesPost. That's what he means to say, of course.
Exactly. Perfect. All right. So this week, thanks again, everyone, for joining us. We always love getting your questions and your feedback in order to make TradesPost the best automated trading platform for you and your needs. And we need you for that. And so you've asked questions over the last week, and we'll be happy to answer them. First up, we have... All right, this is a question that came in. Someone was saying, I have an account with you where I have set up 3 brokers. I would like it that when I reset any broker, my stats also get reset at the same time. Is this a feature that we can get implemented?
I think he's referring to the paper broker. And I'm guessing he's referring to the balances. So yeah, we could do that. We have a checkbox now for positions and orders, and we could add another one for balances, and that would delete that data whenever you reset.
That makes sense.
We should be able to do that.
Yeah, otherwise you'd have to delete the broker off entirely in order for us to flush out the data we have on that integration for the balances. Right. And obviously we don't really recommend deleting brokers off the platform. It ends up losing all your other connections. It can be sort of complicated. It'll delete your strategy subscriptions. And we've seen some frustration around that. So ideally, resetting the balance history is something we can integrate.
Yep, I made a note for that. It should be something we can add.
Just for clarity, though, even if he wanted to do it with a live account, I suppose we could offer that functionality as well. If you don't want the balance history saved on our side for some reason, we could reset that as well.
Yep.
I think the idea is that so the performance stats were fresh for when they started the strategy and didn't take the existing account into consideration.
Yeah. Let's give that some thought.
All right. Perfect. Next up, what kind of changes could we see to the backtester over the next year? Stop loss, take profit. This is to the paper trading account for TradesPost. Stop loss, take profit, real time prices, options trading.
Thought a lot about whether or not or it's rather when we're going to spend the time making our paper broker fully featured. I personally want to do it. It's just been difficult to kind of make it a priority. But yeah, I think one thing that we're missing is we don't have a futures data provider. We have options, stocks, and crypto. We have live data for those asset classes. But futures on the TradesPost paper broker does not have any market data. So you'll actually get $0 quotes back. So you would need to connect a broker like TradeStation and make that the market data source for the TradesPost paper broker. But I don't know. What do you think, Mike? Where does it land in the priority for you?
Honestly, I personally think that the brokers have done a little bit more of a comprehensive job building simulated environments for paper accounts than we have with our paper simulator. I would like to encourage people to defer to brokers like TradeStation and Trade that are really investing heavily in their simulated environments, more so than we are, to give you a more, at least a closer to accurate backtest when you're testing your trades through our platform. And here's where I'm going with that. Like TradeVate has indicated to us that they're investing quite a bit into that infrastructure, which would include even more accurate fills because they're actually observing the depth of market and can tell how many participants are on either side of the bid ask. And they would fill your order based on size and try to simulate how much market reflexivity would be involved in that order execution. So given that they are going to that length, and that's not something that we currently monitor, I think there's a lot of advantages to using some of the brokers' paper accounts rather than our own. That said, if we decide to move forward with enhancing our environment, we just have to pay for futures data as a company. It's fairly expensive for us to do. I think we would need to figure out how to bake that into the cost of the TradesPost subscription in order to provide a little more of a comprehensive trading or paper environment for customers.
The way I've always looked at it too is that the TradesPost paper broker is great for just like quickly doing a test and getting started. But if you're gonna go forward with a real strategy, it would be my preference to use the paper broker from the broker that I plan on using live, because you want the functionality that's available in paper and live to be equivalent.
Right.
So you don't run into a scenario where like, well, I have this feature in paper but not in live, or the reverse. So that would be my personal advice.
Yeah, aside from the market data, I think what they're asking for is, could we simulate options fills, and could we simulate different types of bracket orders and take profits and stop losses? I understand the need for that because there are many brokers that don't really provide that kind of simulation. Tasty Trade doesn't even have a paper environment, so there's really no way to simulate options trades. So I think it is definitely something we'll have to give some thought to on how we can support additional features that simulate in environments where the broker doesn't provide that. One caveat to that is that there's an additional step that's taken when TradesPost is managing your trade. We take your order instructions and then turn that around and turn it into a broker API with your broker. So there is some delay there that should be accounted for in your simulation, because that can lead to an obvious market slippage with your fill. So maybe one other thing we should think about enhancing is like simulating the delay it takes to get to the broker inside the TradesPost broker account by like just pausing the execution time by 100 milliseconds or something like that.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense.
The situation I found myself in was using Binance, since there's no paper trading account on Binance. And there's no crypto asset for the TradesPost paper broker. Then I have to just connect to the Binance and disable auto submit.
There is actually crypto in the TradersPost paper broker now. Was it not working for you, or did you run into an issue?
No, it wasn't working. It was telling me that crypto was not an asset that was supported.
Yeah, I'll have to look at it. I think was it a paper broker that was created a long time ago, potentially?
Yes, definitely.
Yeah, so you just basically have to like save the broker or create a new paper broker, and then that'll enable options, because we didn't previously have option support in the paper broker. So any paper broker that was created before that basically doesn't have option support.
When you say options, do you mean crypto support?
Crypto.
Or sorry, crypto. Yeah, crypto support. So when we launched, so it has, just make sure that the crypto asset class is enabled on your account. And then if you go to view the broker, you should see that it has that crypto asset class.
Got it. Okay, perfect.
But ping me after this too if you want to look at it together.
Problem solved.
All right, next question. All right, could you give me a rundown on the pricing types under which circumstances I might want to use them? Stuff like use last price, bid ask midpoint, use ask for buys and bids for sells. Is there any should people just focus on the default one? Is there any real reason to change them? Curious.
We default to the mark, but lately I've been thinking that we should change that default to use the last price. But using technically, I feel like using the bid or the ask, depending on the order type, might be the most accurate, because it's really the scenario where this functionality gets used is you have a market order for your entry, but then you also have a take profit and a stop loss. And we don't know what the market order is going to be filled at. So we go fetch a quote and we use whichever price you have configured as the price to calculate your take profit and stop loss. If it's a relative take profit or stop loss, meaning like it's a 5% or a $10 stop loss, we'll take that price from the quote and add or subtract that amount. And then that's the price that we send the broker. So you want to use the price from the quote that's going to be the most accurate. And when you use the mark price, it kind of fails whenever you have a ticker that has a really wide bid ask, because you basically get filled at a price that was wildly different than the price that was used to calculate the take profit or stop loss.
Okay, that makes sense. Excellent. I know I've never changed those settings, even on other platforms. I'm wondering if I'm losing out by not doing it properly. Let's see here.
It just depends on how tight your take profit and stop loss is. You know, if it can change the outcome of your trade based on a 1 or 2 cent difference based on what your entry price is, then you want to be pretty careful about what you select there. Of course, your option beyond that is always to specify your take profit and stop loss prices in your payload. John's point is that this is only relevant when we do dynamic calculations on where your take profit and stop loss should be by some relative price to your entry. In this case, your entry is those options that you had selected, whatever the last is, the mark, the bid ask. And I like this idea of choosing bid or ask depending on the order type. I think that's even closer to accurate.
Yeah, I think either that or last should be the default instead of mark.
Yeah, I could see that.
Excuse me. I think there was a customer a couple weeks ago where there was a ticker that had a really wide spread, and he was using the mark. So we used the mark price to calculate his take profit, but then he got filled at something that was closer to the bid or the ask, depending on whether it was a buy or a sell.
Mm.
Cool. But I think there's another feature too that Mike and we've talked about. We could update the take profit or the stop loss price after the market order fills.
Yep.
And basically, we would use the quote price as like a temporary price, but then immediately after the entry order is submitted, we would follow up and update the take profit and stop loss legs with a more accurate price.
Yeah.
I think that's doable.
That would be a future enhancement, but yeah, that's something I've wanted for a while, because then it's actually based on your real entry price, rather than the presumption we make based on those different options that were available.
All right. So next up, there seems to always be a chance that IBKR trades fail due to a connection issue. How should I be thinking about my automated strategy in this scenario? Should I assume every trade has a chance to fail and monitor it, or manually submit them?
Disconnect IBKR and never use them again.
Yeah, that's really the only solution that we have. I mean, use a different broker, definitely. Interactive Brokers has a really high failure rate, like not even comparable to, like, the other brokers don't even compare to Interactive Brokers. They don't fail. They can fail, but not near as often as IBKR.
I was reading yet again another support ticket of someone complaining about this, and yet again we had to respond with, "Look, they're unreliable. There's nothing we can do about that." But the complaint is always on the side of, "Well, you guys did something wrong, and until you guys can get your act together, where TradesPost is no good." And it's sort of like, well, that's not the case, and it makes me wonder, like, why do we support IBKR?
I've thought about removing it. Yeah, we've thought about removing them, and they're unresponsive on their support side. It's just shoulder shrugs whenever we report instances of API calls failing. So I'm kind of at the point where I don't know what else to do other than just removing the access and just sunsetting Interactive Brokers. I don't want to have to do that.
Always in beta, and it's like it's shown in its own like label, like use at your own risk right from the because there's no warning when you go to add the broker that this could be an issue. It just says it looks like everything's going to be fine.
Yeah, I mean, we do have the beta tag next to Interactive Brokers. Maybe it needs to be put in more places or make it more obvious. But yeah, Interactive Brokers will remain in beta status until we can get some kind of acknowledgement from Interactive Brokers on that they're fixing it or working on the issues.
Got it. All right. Someone asked here, why is shorting futures not available on SEX like Bybit? Will it be one day?
Yeah.
We don't have. Sorry, go ahead, Mike. I'll let you take it.
Go ahead. I was just going to say we're treating crypto futures as a different asset class. So we would just need to expand our offering to include that asset class. We're just not there yet. It will be one day, and then you'll be able to go long or short Coinbase futures, Bybit, whoever supports perpetual futures markets or even dated futures markets on any of these platforms.
So in these exchanges, the only way to go short is with futures. You can't short ETH.
You can short on margin on spot, as long as you have a margin account, but that would be a different enhancement we'd have to make.
Right. So we need to be able to support spot shorting and crypto futures as an asset class.
Yep.
Got it.
Cool. What's the next crypto exchange that's like potentially on the roadmap?
I've had some complaints about not supporting Binance.us yet, so we should reconsider that now that we've done the Binance.com integration. But I know we had a priority meeting about this recently, and I think honestly we'll be focusing on kind of going back to our existing exchanges to expand on what we just said, being able to short on margin with a crypto exchange that supports it, and then expanding into crypto futures. Beyond that, I think we've had some people on a Kucoin list for a little while now.
Kucoin would be great.
Yeah.
I mean, let me just add some color to what I'm saying.
Sure.
I'm a degenerate, and I want altcoins and meme coins almost as soon as they become available. And if I wait for them to go on Binance or Coinbase, I'm going to be waiting forever. I need those pumps right at the beginning with an automated strategy that keeps my risk at a minimum. I get that, but I need TradesPost for that.
Fair enough.
We need KuCoin, we need Maxi, we need BitGet, we need Uniswap.
Well, Uniswap gets us into the DEX category.
Right.
We'll have to give that one some thought. But yeah, we as always encourage our users to jump on the wait list for any of the crypto exchanges you'd like to see us add. When we do our broker planning meetings to figure out our roadmap, it's usually prioritized by how many people are on those wait lists. So put your vote in.
Excellent. Okay. Are there any precautionary steps I need to take in regards to strategies during daylight saving time changes? We have two questions about this week.
Okay. Well, the same question or two different questions about DST?
Two different questions about DST.
So this was the first one. Yeah, I mean, if you're using the trading window functionality, your hour, your from and your to on your hours are they won't be affected. There's nothing that I can think of, unless you have something like hard coded in your strategy pine script that could cause a DST bug. That's the only thing I can think of.
Someone was saying that the trade happened outside of their trade window, and they were chalking that up to DST. Could that ever happen?
I don't think so. I need to look at that specific example.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll find that ticket. But to John's point, most everything we do internally is all based in UTC time to avoid any kind of issues around daylight savings. So everything kind of gets translated into this universal time so that there is no time zone in our internal database.
Right.
That's right. Excellent. Okay. And final question here we have: I have some coding skills and plan on running a single strategy on TradeStation. What would be the advantages of using TradingView, TradersPost over coding my own strategy in EasyLanguage and executing on TradeStation? This is a question that came directly from me from another programmer. And we're like, hey, pitch me. Why should I use TradersPost if I can code?
I'm pretty sure TradeStation's system in EasyLanguage, does it run in the cloud or is it running on your local computer?
It's on the cloud, I believe. Actually, no.
I think you have the choice. No, I think you have the choice. You can run in either environment. Just like with MetaTrader, you can run your strategies in their cloud as well.
So that would be one of the first things. I don't if it's not in the cloud, that would be an advantage for TradersPost. I think some of the other advantages are just PineScript, the language being more widely adopted, more community available scripts. But if you can program, and you understand how to do all that stuff at a low level, then there's really not much of a use for TradersPost. What do you think, Mike?
So there was well, I could give you a couple of questions that the coder was asking me. I couldn't specifically
Yeah, that'd
answer.
be good. I think my first thought as something to consider is like, one, we're definitely not trying to convince people who've created their own cloud environments to execute an automated strategy to move over to TradersPost. The target audience is definitely those who have something that they've set up in PineScript or in TrendSpider, and they don't know how to automate that kind of environment. That is the vast majority of our customers. That said, there's a lot to say about the way that strategies have been organized on TradersPost that might make it a little bit easier than the way the environment is set up on TradeStation. One is that you're kind of limited to one broker at that point. But if I want to create a strategy that I can share with other people or have it execute with multiple brokers, or even take a signal from futures and trade a smaller contract, like there's a lot of ways in which I can take these signals and reformat them into other environments. So I think that flexibility of being able to rewire and share and send it out to other people is a big advantage with TradersPost. In the future, of course, we are rapidly expanding our offering to include analytics, which might be more comprehensive than what is available within the TradeStation environment. I'm not entirely certain what their analytics looks like what their P&L reports look like, but we're doing a lot of work on analytics internally, which will include everything at the account level, at the strategy level, down to the individual trades themselves. So I think it just really depends on what your individual needs are, but there are some pros and cons to either environment.
I'd like to add to that. So I was in a situation where I had a client who they had this whole strategy built in PineScript that I built for them. And then they go, hey, I just found out this EasyLanguage on TradeStation. I'm going to hire somebody else, and they're going to convert your whole thing and make it over there instead. I said, all right, go ahead, make it over there instead. And then they ran into all kinds of problems over there, right? Because even though it's called EasyLanguage, it's not any easier than any other language. And so they thought they were going to be saving costs in development time and money on the other platform. Turns out that wasn't the case. And then to be able to find people who have knowledge, right? So this coder is there using that now, but if someone else needs to go and pick it up afterwards, to find somebody else who knows EasyLanguage as well as they do, or have a proficiency level that makes sense, that's lower. There's going to be way more people that can pick up PineScript. And then there's the issue of even though right now they swear that this is what they want to use, this broker and one single strategy on this platform, that basically limits their growth. If they actually do decide later on to change, they can't do that. They can't do that easily. You have to completely abandon it and start again. The collaboration. So when you're on TradeStation, you cannot log in. More than one person can log into the same TradeStation account. And so if you connect it instead to TradesPost, then multiple people can log into TradesPost because of the user account system. And then you can see the logs, you can see the webhook. More than one person can collaborate at the same time, especially if you have a client and the coder. So that was easier to do by using TradesPost instead of directly on TradeStation. And then finally, the question that this coder was asking me was that, let's say, are there any like quality of life features that stuff like if my trade doesn't go through, if my trade doesn't go through on TradeStation, I don't get a notification that something went wrong, right? But I do get a notification like that on TradesPost. If I want to the retry feature, where if a trade fails, does it get retried until it succeeds? Like, I wasn't sure exactly how to answer this question. Is there like a fail safe that happens there that wouldn't happen directly on the broker where we're retrying a trade?
We don't retry the execution, but we retry everything that happens pre-execution. So all the communication with the broker to determine like what open positions you have, what open orders, and the balances from your broker account, if we need the balances to calculate quantities or things like that. So yeah, that would be an advantage. We would retry any failures, but I'm guessing EasyLanguage, they would have like a more direct connection to the broker that wouldn't be the API, but maybe it could have similar failures that the API has, that TradesPost integrates with. So yeah, I think that could be a benefit.
Their backtesting system, this is one of the things that made my client really like the idea of using EasyLanguage, that they have a more robust backtesting solution that provides far more information than what you get on TradingView. But it wasn't. Yeah, it was pretty robust, but it wasn't. Is a point that Mike has brought up several times. The strategies that are successful, they're not going to be these unbelievable quant systems, complex analyzing 45 pieces of external data. That's not generally what's going on, and there's an overkill aspect to some of the results. So the back test, nothing really beats forward testing. So when you forward test your strategy on your account, well, then you're getting like real information as to what it might look like. And the backtester looked great for my client on the TradeStation. Then he ran it, and it wasn't any better for the results, like any more accurate for the results than they had on TradingView. Plus, on TradingView, you can do so because you can connect to TradeStation. The trades that happen through TradesPost also show up on the chart over there. I think Mike, you showed that on a previous stream, where the trades show up on TradingView. And because of the new feature that TradingView added for bar replay trading, you can like place trades live, and so you can't do that at all in TradeStation. So there's just so many things. And then the development in general that's happening on PineScript and on TradesPost is nonstop. We're on a train ride to more and more features down the road. And so whereas that's really not the case with EasyLanguage. I mean, I kept up the pace to it for a little bit, and they're not like rolling out new features constantly every week, every month. Like that's not the goal. So all in all,
I was gonna say, I feel like it's like less Googleable. Some languages, just by the nature of them being really popular and widely used, it makes it easier to find other people who've done something, the same thing you're trying to do, and you just Google it and find where someone else has done it. And I think PineScript is just so widely used, it makes it a lot easier.
That's right. So that was my pitch to the guy for TradesPost. He's like, okay, I think we'll give it a shot.
Fair points. I honestly like this exercise, and I think we should expand our competition lander section on comparing TradesPost to these types of environments, including MetaTrader in the cloud. We should probably expand that and really kind of think through some of these additional arguments, because there's just a lot to consider. It really just depends on what you're trying to accomplish.
That's right. Excellent. So unless Mike, John, you have anything else, like to leave it there. Those are the questions that we have for this week. I'm very excited for our new lineups now. I think it's working. The 3 per week. We're not mixing up different content, and I'm really looking forward to Thursday. I'm not sure if we're going to do. I'm debating between the crypto screener, not the crypto screener, the option screener, and the and showing how you could do multi-time frame confluences. To generate an alert. I was like, I wonder which one might be better. So we'll see. It could be fun.
Tom, one I think we could follow up on is showing people how to use one of these Luxalgo strategies. We've got access to all their premium indicators, and we could start to play around with those and do that in the next blueprint. One of the visitors here in this chat thread just asked how he could automate a Luxalgo strategy. I think that's definitely something we could cover there. But Henry, if you want to give us a shout out on the specific Luxalgo algo strategy that you use, we're happy to cover that one as well.
Yeah, if you at me on our Discord, you can write here in the comments, or you can at me on Discord at Sacred Prophet. I'll take note of that and we'll check it out. I love the idea. We can do the Luxalgo and the multi-time frame at the same time if it's not too complex. That might be a good blueprint episode.
Absolutely.
Perfect.
Cool.
Okay. So I'm, as always, very upset that for some reason when we do our streams, that's when volatility enters into the markets, and I end the stream and I look back at what I either lost or gained. So I'm bracing myself for what's going on in my prop firm account. But I'm very happy to be with everyone this week, and we look forward to seeing you next Tuesday for office hours.
Cheers, everyone.
Awesome. See you guys.